You're done? Oh. Mm-hmm. All right, you're good.
Good. Good to go. Recording and all that fun stuff. Hi, my name is Julie. Welcome to Gentle Yoga. Hello to all those who are out there. Carolyn, are you out there? Are you out there? Yes. Okay. So welcome to all those who are out there. This is a gentle yoga practice. So I don't want you to do anything that feels uncomfortable. If you need to take a rest or change your position and do something that you'd rather do that your body is asking you to do, something that is more comfortable for you, or something your body's craving, I really want to do this right now, that's fine, go ahead and do it. Yoga, it means union, and the union is between, you and your body and your breath, right? So that's the whole point, to be mindful during your yoga practice. So please, do not do anything that feels, do anything that your doctor or any healthcare professional has told you not to do, okay? I'm just your guide here, but more importantly, your body rules the show when it comes to yoga practice. So you want to do things that feel good. So when you leave yoga practice, the residual is one of ease and feeling good about the time that you've spent on your yoga mat, okay? A lot of the things that we'll do or talk about are things that you can also do at home. So you can practice your yoga wherever you go, which I think is a wonderful thing. Again, my name is Julie, and welcome to this gentle practice. We're going to start seated, and I know that can be challenging, so I always recommend that people have a pillow or a blanket or something that they can sit up on. If you cannot easily cross your legs in this way or this way, some people are really flexible in the hips, and they can do that, and that, or they can do this, and that's fine too. But maybe your legs are out in front of you today. Right, so do what works for you as we begin class. When we sit up on a blanket or a pillow, it's so that we can take the tissue from our back end and kind of sweep it back behind us. So see if you can actually move the tissues of your butt, your back end, back behind you, so that when you sit up, your pelvis doesn't tuck back behind you. Rather, it comes to more neutral as if your pelvis were a bowl, okay? Just take a moment. You want to sit up tall, but you don't want to create any tension. So you want to be alert, but you want to be a bit relaxed. Let's just breathe. If you can breathe in and out through your nose, that's great. It helps you focus a little better. If you have to use your mouth, that's okay too. So just inhale and exhale your breath. You can put your hands wherever you're comfortable. You can close your eyes. The practice today is about equanimity. And that's an odd word. A lot of people don't know it. But we're just going to focus on the idea of a strong back and a soft front. So just sit with this for a minute as you inhale and exhale. You can inhale your shoulders up, and then exhale as you release them down and back. So you kind of create a little bit more relaxation. Lifting up a bit through the sternum, feeling the back lengthen instead of curl forward. Reaching up gently through the tops of the ears so the neck lengthens. Just breathe. So what does it mean to you and your body today as you inhale and exhale to have a strong back and a soft front? You don't want to create a feeling of tightness or rigidness. We also don't want to collapse to the force of gravity. We want to find a spot in between. Notice your breaths, your inhalations and exhalations. As you inhale the breath, the belly or front may feel like it's softening or widening. As you exhale the breath, feel the length and strength of your spine as the belly draws in. And just do that a few times, celebrating the soft front and the strong back. During your yoga practice and, every day of your life, If you need to settle, bring yourself back to a more neutral aspect, having some difficulties or whatever the situation might be. Turn to your breath. Inhale the breath and exhale the breath. Feel how it moves in your body. Connect to the feeling of the breath at the belly, at the chest, at the nostrils. Use your breath as an anchor to have a strong back and a soft front. We need to be grounded, anchored. To be reminded of this, feeling our sit bones against the ground, and lift through the spine as the top of our head reaches towards the ceiling. Moving down. Strong back and a soft front. Maybe you can set an intention for your practice today. There's a reason that you're coming to the mat today to practice. Whatever that intention is, it's yours. Just think about that intention as we move through practice. It might change. Who knows? And then you can go ahead and open your eyes and acclimate a little bit to the room around you. If you like, you can bring your hands to heart center. You can start with a feeling of gratitude. Just a few breaths, exploring the gratitude that we have for the ability to be able to practice together during this difficult time. It's a wonderful thing to be able to do. Okie dokie. So, seated, you can do this sitting in a chair, you can do this sitting on the floor, however that works for you. Let's just roll the shoulders back a few times. Rolling up, back, and down. Thank you to Karen for getting this set up. Rolling up, back, and down with the shoulders. Just noticing your range of motion today. Every day is different in our bodies, right? So very often you'll see people rolling their shoulders back, but you don't always notice that they ask you to roll your shoulders forward. Well, think about that. If you roll your shoulders forward, that creates that widening or hunching in the upper back, right? Which is a situation or an issue that we have a lot, well, many of us, from sitting a lot. So rolling the shoulders up, back, and down is actually the opposing action, right, to that forward bent posture. So this is a great thing to do throughout the day. And then with the shoulders back behind you, feeling the shoulder blades move down towards your tailbone, reaching up through the crown of the head. We're just going to inhale here, exhale one ear to one shoulder, not by pulling it, right, just by letting it go. And if you want, you can also turn your head to look down a little bit in that direction. And then look back to front, bring the head up, inhale here. And exhale, bring the opposite ear to the opposite shoulder. And as you're breathing, again, you can turn the head if you like. That's cool. That's cool. And the center up. And then one more time each side. See if we can keep the shoulders relaxed when we do this. If you feel the gentle stretching going on. It's very important. Inhaling up. Exhaling to the other side, especially now that we do a lot on our phones and our tablets. We tend to bring that, we have that head forward posture. So these are great stretches to do as long as you're sitting up tall. And bring the head back up. So you can always roll your shoulders back, do whatever else. So the next thing we're going to do, I call stirring the pot. So we're talking about like having a strong spine, right? And your spine grows out of the basin of your pelvis. It's up and out of the basin. So with your hands on your knees, and I'll widen my legs a little bit, and you're going to rock a bit, so it's okay. So what we're going to do is we're going to take this tall spine and we're going to rotate it. We're going to rotate it, so we're going to make some circles. So you'll notice I'm not flexing or extending my spine. It's staying neutral. It's staying kind of tall. What I'm doing is rocking across the bottom of my body. Just feeling it, kind of getting those. Where is the spine in relation to the pelvis, to the hips, the thigh bones in relation to the hips? And we got to go in the other direction. And this may be very small for you. You may just be doing this here. Maybe issues with your hips or your back. And that's fine too, right? So you can make this really big, rock around the clock, or you can make it very small. It's completely up to you. Great. We're going to come back to the center position. We're going to put our fingertips here in what some people call potted palm, which I think is a great way to say it. And we're going to inhale, one arm up, and walk through the fingertips down as we reach. I'm opposite of you, so I believe that this is actually my left hand, but it looks like the right hand maybe. Inhale up, exhale over, so my right arm. Oh, boy. And just do that a few times. Inhale, fingertips down, other fingertips up, reaching through the side body. You don't have to glue your hips to the floor, but just notice how rooted and grounded your hips are, right? That your pelvis is very heavy. It's the heaviest bone in your body. So you're definitely going to feel a little bit of movement at the pelvis is moved side to side. And maybe you can't get your arm all over your head today, and you want to do this with a bent elbow. That's okay too. It's completely up to you. Do one more time each side. Great. I'm going to do a little bit more lengthening here in this position. I won't keep you here for too long, okay? So we're going to take the hands out in front of us, and you can interlace the fingers or not. It's really up to you. I tend to do a flat hand. It's more comfortable for my hands. And then push out through the palms and up. So now you can reach down through the sit bones as you reach up through the palms. You can move your head gently so you're not squeezing your shoulders up near your ears. Nice reach here. And we tend to want to lift our chin when we do these, right? So see if you can keep your head a little bit more neutral. Inhale here as you push through the palms. And exhale, fingertips behind the ears. Move the back of the head towards the fingertips instead of away from them. Awesome. And then let's press up once again. Inhale up. This time as we exhale, we're going to bring the arms in front and turn the palms towards us and reach the back of the hands out. This opens up our shoulder blades. Being very mindful when we're moving our arms and trying to get opening the shoulders, that we don't squeeze up near our ears. We want to keep the head and neck nice and free. Now let's inhale up once more, but let's let the fingertips up, up, up away from each other. And as we exhale, turn your heart to the left, float your hands down. So maybe your left hand goes behind you and your right hand rests on the knee. So this is where we begin to think about that soft front. We have a long spine, but as we exhale and hug in the organs, we can feel them kind of slide around that tall, strong spine. Let's inhale back to center, chest forward. And exhale as we rotate in the other direction, hands float down. Really important that when we twist or turn at the waist, that we try to stay in neutral posture as tall as we can. Hunching and twisting is never good for our spinal vertebrae. Each exhalation during the twist, you're kind of softening in those organs around the column of the spine. Let's do one more time each side. Inhale up and exhale. And inhale up and exhale. And let's come back to center. Beautiful. In the hands of cactus or gold pose position. Inhale here, exhale, bring the elbows in. Inhale, open. Exhale, close. So as we open, we're celebrating that soft front, opening up in front of the shoulders and the chest. As we exhale, we're opening up through the back. So yes, we need to have a strong back, but it also needs to be pliable. It needs to be able to bend and move. A strong back moves in all directions. It has flexibility as well as strength and structure. Inhale, open, the elbows away from each other, and exhale, close. Beautiful. And then bring the fingers back down. Okay, so what I'd like you to do now is bring your fingertips behind you, roll the shoulders back, and lift your heart up towards your ceiling, right? Lift your heart so you're arching the upper back a bit. See if you can relax the legs, arch up through the upper back. That's just if you're lifting your sternum up towards the ceiling. You don't have to throw your head back. Your eyes should follow the direction that your heart is pointing. Take a few breaths here. On the next inhalation, come up and exhale. So now we're going to do the opposite movement. We're going to walk the fingertips slightly forward on the floor, and you may not get too far, and that's okay. So once you've got as far as is comfortable for you, see if you can relax and round the spine just a bit so the head looks down. Just softening. Again, a strong back still needs to be flexible, needs to be pliable. Feel how the softness of the front of your body kind of melts inwards to the inside of the spine. And then gently walk the hands in, and you can uncurl one vertebra at a time. Good job. Okay, so maybe we're ready to get off of our back end. So let's move into some cat-cow stretches. Now, so a lot of the stuff that we do today, because it's a general yoga class, is close to the floor. So if you do feel you need to pad your knees or any other part of your body, please grab a nearby blanket or whatever you've got, okay? Because I do. With the arthritis I have in my knees, I definitely like to pad my knees very often. I have a thick yoga mat, but I also have this wonderful blanket nearby. So come to all fours on your yoga mat, wrists underneath the shoulders, and then move them slightly forward of the shoulder joints, so a little more comfort for the wrist. Spread the fingers, and for a second, come up on the big joints of the fingers and the hands. So lift the heel of your palms up for just a minute, and then inhale here, exhale, release down, press down to the thumb. Begin to press down to the base of the thumb, the index finger, the pads of the fingers, claw the mat a little bit. The knees are underneath the hips and about hips width apart. So we're going to do some cat-cow stretches. On an inhalation, roll the shoulders back, lift the heart up and through, and lift the tailbone up. Now, I have the tops of my feet down, so I don't feel as much pressure on my kneecap, but rather at the top of my shin. But if you like to keep your toes tucked under, it's a great way to stretch the muscles in the bottom of your feet. You definitely do that. On the next inhalation, press into the pads of your fingers and lift your spine up towards the ceiling. The tailbone is going to come down, the head is going to rest down. Notice how this feels. Do you feel any tightness or stiffness in that lower back? I usually do, so I wiggle a little bit. It makes me feel better. And now you can go back and forth between cat and cow, or you can do them more quickly or more slowly, whatever works for you. Inhaling to the cow pose, or you can exhale to the cow pose, whichever works. And then you can inhale, exhale to the cat pose. If you feel a lot of pressure while you're doing these, through the wrists or the heels of the palms, really think about pressing more through the base of the index finger and the base of the thumb, pads of the fingers. Try to move the onus of the weight away from the side of the hands, more towards the inner part of the hand. You can turn your inner elbow creases to face each other. When you're in this position, it'll give you a little bit more stability. Let's just do a few more. Breathing, you can go slowly or as quickly as you like, inhaling and exhaling. It's important how you move from one to the other. It's not just getting to the pose, right? It's and being in the pose, it's the journey as you're moving into it and out of it. And then let's come to all fours. Begin now to sit your hips back towards your heels. So you can start by lifting your tailbone up and reaching it back. And then it's going to tuck under as you get further back towards your heels. So you may not be able to get too far back towards your heels yet, and that's okay. Or you could place your blanket on the tops of your calves so you would sit back on your blanket or pillow if sitting back is hard on you. Okay? Believe me, I understand what that is. It takes me quite a while to work into that so I can get my hips back. It takes me a little bit of practice. Let's come back with the hips and down onto the forearms with the palms up. Take a minute to circle the wrists, one direction, and then the other. You can open up the hands, open up those fingers wide like starfish and make fists open and close, open and close. And again, you can take your wrists, bring your palms down, so that's called flexion, or bring your fingertips up, that's called extension, like we do on all fours. So just kind of point the fingers down, lift the fingertips up, and then again, make some circles if that feels good to you, and stop and do this wherever you need to, okay? So let's do a little bit of spinal balance. We're going to come up into the all-fours position once again, and place your hands carefully, right? You want to not put all the weight in the heels of the palms, so wrist creases are lined up with the front edge of the shoulders, inner elbow creases look at each other, widen the fingers. Imagine you have starfish hands, okay? Press down through the base of those big joints, especially the thumb and the index finger. So we are neutral in all fours position, or what they call tabletop. Okay? So what I'd like us to do is to kind of explore the front and back bodies. So from this neutral position, you are not cat nor cow. Raise the right arm up. No higher than shoulder height, but if you can't raise it that high, that's okay. Notice how your waist is working so that your back doesn't collapse to the ground. So it's not just strength of the back. There's also something can be strong and soft, and that's what we're looking at with our front right now. And let's bring that right hand back to the floor. Inhale and exhale. Inhale, lift out the left arm, and breathe. Beautiful. So your back, your spine is nice and long. Hug together your rib cage on the right and left side. Keep the neck long, looking down. This is a lot of work for your abdominals. And bring the hand down. And we're going to do this again, and we're going to add the lift of the opposite leg. You do not have to lift the opposite leg all the way. You could just extend it with the toes tucked under. You do not need to lift it up to hip height if you don't want to, okay? Notice the difference in the feeling when you lift an arm and a leg as opposed to just an arm. So on an inhalation, you're going to lift that right arm. And then maybe on the next inhale or exhale, you're going to stretch out the left leg. So again, you can have the toes on the floor, or you can lift the heel up towards the ceiling. Now, gravity wants to pull your back down to the floor. It wants to make your back sag. Push away from the earth with everything touching the earth. So lift up away from the ground. Looking at the floor so the neck is long. Lifting the whole front body into the back body. Inhale here and exhale, bring it down. Now let's try the other side. When we're ready, inhale and exhale. Lift the opposite arm up and the opposite leg out. Great job. Beautiful, beautiful. So watch your balance here. Push away from the earth with what's touching the earth. The leg that you have lifted, toes point down. Lift the whole waist up into the spine. Push away from the earth with what's touching the earth. Nice long neck. Hug the right and left sides of your ribcage towards each other for stability. Inhale here and exhale, bring it down. Great job. Once again, we're going to sit the hips back toward the heels. Oh, you bring your forearms in. Again, you may not sit all the way back, and that's okay. Put it like there, whatever. I'm going to bring my forearms in, stack my fists, and rest my forehead on my fists in this child's pose. In child's pose, you should be able to soften the spine, soften the front body. You should feel the spine lengthen, and that's okay. You can bring your forehead down even closer if that's comfortable, widen the elbows. Whatever works for you in child's pose. You can widen the knees a little further apart, keeping the big toes together, trying to make this pose more comfortable again. You don't have to sit your hips all the way back if that doesn't work for you. So let's move from a resting child's pose to a more active child's pose. So reach the right arm out in front of you, still sitting the hips back a bit, but maybe not as much. And the other arm out in front of you, so your right and your left arms stretched out in front of you. So you're sitting the hips back, whatever destination works for you, whether you're all the way back or not. And the arms reaching out in front of you, so you can feel the lengthening happening on the sides of your waist from the armpit to the hip bone. The head stays neutral, kind of in between the upper arms, so you don't drop it, nor do we lift it. Let's come up on the fingertips and see how that feels. Kind of lifting from the pits of the armpits can give a little bit more strength here, and with your torso a little bit further away from the ground. So you can keep your palms on the floor, and even your forearms on the floor, if that's where you're at today, or you can be up on your fingertips. Let's walk the hands over to and off the right corner of the mat. So now we're getting a little bit more stretching on the left side of our waist, yeah? There are 6 positions of the spine that we like to practice, and if we can practice it every day, that's great. In yoga practice, we always do. 2 of the 6 positions of the spine are side bending to the right and left, and that's what you're doing right now. By walking those hands over to the right, you're side bending, okay, towards the right. Let's walk the fingertips to the front. Inhale here, exhale, walking over to the left side now. So now you're side bending to the left, feeling the length from the right armpit to the right hip, right? And either your hands are on the floor, your forearms are on the floor, or you've got your hands down, your forearms up, or you're on your fingertips. Please do whichever feels good to you. But you want to feel that length to that side of your waist, from the hip to the armpit. Awesome. Just breathe. Beautiful. Back to second. I'm going to do one more time to each side. Inhale, long in front of you. Exhale, walk to the right side. Breathe into the back of your lungs now. Really see if you can feel the lungs opening, feel a little bit more length. Think of the back body. Inhale, back to the center. Exhale, back to the opposite side, the left side. Again, breathing into the back of the lungs. Breathing into the back body. Put the head between the upper arms. And walking those hands here. Awesome job, awesome job. Come on, make up to all 4. Great, 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 great. Okay, so we're going to do some bowing. I know you're probably thinking, what? Okay. And you can pad your knees for this, because I know some of us this might be challenging. Okay. So on your knees, okay. Again, I put the tops of my feet down. This moves the weight from the kneecap to the top of the shin. I don't know if you can feel that. You can always, play with that, see if that works for you. Pad your knees, please. If you don't have a blanket, you could even roll up, one of the edges of your mat and pad your knees with that on the back edge of the front edge. That works for you. Okay? So knees are about hips width apart. We want to practice hinging at the hip. If we can hinge at the hip while keeping our back neutral and strong, okay, this takes a lot of work, core work, front and back muscles. And that's okay, you've got this. You don't have to go all the way to the floor. It's different for everyone. But from this position, let's just inhale the arms up. As we exhale, bring the arms out to the sides. Now begin to hinge at the hips. The back stays nice and long and straight. Maybe the butt moves back. And you can put your hands on the floor. And then you can bring your chest or forehead down if you want. If you don't have to. You can also, if you have blocks, you can also use the blocks so that you don't have to come all the way to the floor. Now we have to come back up. So you need to hug that rib cage. You keep the back neutral. Inhale, unhinge. Exhale, hands to heart center. Okay, now this is rough. You're doing a great job. Take your time and rest if you need to. Inhale up. Exhale, arms out, hinge at the hip, nice strong back. Hands on the blocks or maybe on the floor. Bring the forehead down or not. Now we're going to come back up, so really engage the abdominals. Press the front body into the back body. Awesome. This just teaches us hip hinging. Opens our hips up a little bit. Inhaling up, let's try it again. Exhaling to hinge. Hands on the blocks or the floor. Maybe your forehead comes down, maybe it doesn't. And we're going to come back up, so press the front body into the back body. Inhale up. Exhale, hands to heart center. If you'd like, you can do this a few more times, okay? If you want to rest back in child's pose, go ahead and do that. It's completely up to you. But this teaches us the importance of having a flat back as we move. Very often we bend over to pick things up, or we hinge halfway over a laundry tub or a table. So we want to think about using the strength of our back and its connection with our front. Engaging those abdominals, engaging those back muscles. I'm going to do one more. Hinge down. Back up. Inhale up. Hands to heart center. Great job. Awesome. Awesome. So now we get to get off our knees. We get to take a seat once again on our mat. So I'd like you to kind of switch your butt over to the side and sit with your legs out long in front of you. Again, if this is challenging, you can trick us up on height. And like I mentioned before, it's no good if you're way up on the height and you're still hunching your back. Okay? I move down to the edge of the blanket and move my flesh so that my pelvis isn't tucking under. It's actually neutral. And you can see that I have a neutral spine, which is a really great thing. My legs are out long. It's okay if they don't completely straighten. This is called Dandasana or staff pose. Fingertips here on the floor. Take a few breaths here and feel your hips, your sit bones on the mat, on the ground, on whatever it is you're sitting on. Really feel them. And root down so you can rise up through the tops of the ears, the crown of the head. So we have a nice lengthened neutral spine. Great job. So if you take your hands off the floor and bring them to the heart center, sitting up tall like this will make your spine tired. So it does take a strong back to sit up tall. Yeah? Let the shoulders roll back. You're reaching up to the tops of the ears. You want to challenge your strength in this position. Reach the arms up overhead, sitting tall in this beautiful Dandasana or staff position. And so I mentioned the strong back and the soft front. So let's take the hands down now, fingertips pointing towards our feet. We're going to reach our arms behind us and put our palms on the floor. Now your fingertips should point toward your feet, but you might need to turn your hands out just a little, okay? Not a whole lot. I don't want you to turn your hands all the way up to the side, but you want the fingertips facing the feet, and the wrist should be at least as wide as the shoulders, okay? So you should have your wrists as wide as the shoulders, but maybe a little further back, maybe not directly underneath the shoulders. You can play with how that feels. Again, we don't want to put all the work into the heels of the palms, so spread those fingers. Think about the base of the index finger and thumb. And then all that we're going to do is lift our heart up towards the ceiling. So this may straighten the arms. You can feel your shoulder blades draw together on your spine. I'm flexing my feet because I like the way that feels, but you can, relax your feet. Pointing your toes may feel good to you, but I would say more of a neutral foot or a flex foot would be the best thing to do. And just let the front of the shoulder joints open. See if you can let the heart shine through the front of the shoulders. Don't drop your head back. Try to keep your head in a nice neutral position. Again, wherever your heart is looking, that's where your face is looking. Beautiful. Nice job. Just open up, soft front. So you get some softness into the whole front part of the body. Inhale here. Exhale, nice job. And let's walk those hands up so we come back to staff position. Great job, great job. Okie dokie. So now we're going to move into a wide angle position. So you're still seated, maybe on your blanket or your pillow. I'm going to move my blocks a little bit. And I'm going to ask you to widen your legs apart. Okay? And flex the feet so the toes point up. So it's okay if your knees don't completely unbend, but I'd like your toes to be pointing up towards the sky. So we want to get those calves stretched. So even if the knees are a little bent, we want to stretch the calves a bit too, okay? Nice to get stretching the back part of the body. So there we go. How wide should your legs be? Well, what feels comfortable to you? Some people can move the flesh of their inner thigh in and the outer thigh out, and they find it's a little easier to straighten their legs. Can you notice that? Maybe it works for you. And then we sit up nice and tall. So this in and of itself is a stretch for these adductors, these inner thigh muscles. Stretch for the hips. So sit up nice and tall. This is called Upavisa Konasana, or wide angle forward bend. So a forward bend with wide legs. This is kind of scary, right? Use your blocks if you have them, or if you have a couple books, you have something that you can grab. It's great to have for yoga practice. It doesn't have to be blocks. So we're just going to sit up nice and tall. Inhale the arms up. And as we exhale, remember what it was like when we were bowing. We're going to take a little bow, and then parts of our body are going to go, nope, you can't go any further than that. It might be the back of your thighs that you're feeling it, but you're hinging, so you're not rounding the spine, okay? So you can place your hands on the mat in front of you. As you practice this little bit of this forward bend, you can put your blocks here and put your hands, or if you can hinge a little bit more, move the blocks in, you can put the forearms on the blocks. But you'll notice if you, because I know you can see me, not just hear me. So you may notice that, the further your chest gets toward the floor, the more that your spine rounds. It rounds at a very even rate of curve. What we don't want to happen is for the tailbone to tuck under and the lower back to overstretch or over round, okay? We don't want that to happen. So we start in the tall position. We hinge from the hip with a neutral spine, and then the closer we're able to get to the floor, the more we feel the spine begin to round, but it rounds evenly. You can feel it from the back of your pants all the way up to the top. You don't just drop the head and collapse the shoulders, right? So whether your hands are on blocks or just in front of you, maybe your palms are out in front of you, just feel this, stretching out through the inner thighs, hinging a bit. Is your front soft? Is your back strong? What does that mean to you? Take a few breaths. Maybe you can do 5 breaths in this pose, lifting those toes up, just breathing. Maybe you're breathing up the length of the spine, through the soft front. And then after you've had enough of this pose and you've done 5 breaths and you haven't, it's okay, walk the hands in. All right, gorgeous. So we're going to do a twist here. I'm going to stay up on my height because I'm telling you, it really does feel better. I'm going to bring the legs out in front of us again, and we're going to do Matsyendrasana, or half Lord of the Fishes pose, which is really lovely. There's a couple ways that we can do this. So if we bend one knee, so I'm bending my right knee, placing my right foot a little closer to my tipis, but it doesn't have to be too close, okay? So what we want to do is cross this right foot over the left thigh and bring it to the other side of the mat. Does it have to be perfect? No. What we want to try to do is not have the whole right hip come way up off the floor. So see if you can still keep your hips fairly grounded towards the earth. And it's okay if this foot that you have crossed over, isn't completely flat on the floor. You do the best that you can. You can hold on to the knee gently. Some folks, and this could be you if you'd like, okay? The full expression of the pose would be that you take this long leg and you bend that knee and you bring that ankle or that heel over towards your hip. So of an actual cross leg bent knee position. So you have some options here, whether you do the actual full expression of the pose, okay, by crossing the legs with the right leg up over the left thigh, or you keep the left leg out long. So it's up to you, okay? Either way, we're taking a nice big inhale and exhale. And then when we're ready, sitting up as tall as we can through our spine, really grounding down to the sit bones, up to that tall spine, take a nice inhale. As we exhale, we're going to turn towards that upper knee. So this is my right knee, and I'm going to wrap that left arm gently around that right knee, and I'm going to inhale my right arm up. Just lengthens my spine up into this twist. Inhale here, and then exhale those fingertips back behind me. So I'm in a nice twist with one leg crossed over the other. If you do have the other leg long on the floor, those toes are coming up towards the ceiling. If you do have the one heel close to the opposite hip and you have your legs crossed, that's okay too. Right? You have some options here. Try it. Try it. You can try it if you want. It's whatever you'd like to do. But remember, in a twist, it takes a strong back and a soft front to twist. So we really want to lift up to the length of the spine. And as we exhale and twist, we want to kind of move those organs around the spine. Fingertip goes behind. This helps give you some stability. And if you like, you can inhale here and exhale and look out over that right shoulder as well. And that's completely up to you. I don't have a death grip on my knee and some people will put their elbow on their knee. So if you think that you can, do that, you can go ahead and try that. I just have my hand around my right knee, but you could place your elbow on the right knee as long as it doesn't make you hunch over. Because remember, hunching and twisting is not a good thing. So whatever works for you. Some people will straighten the arm out. So everyone's a little different, but we definitely want to keep a tall spine and a soft front when we twist. And let's unwind that. Oof, there's another side. So stretch the legs out long again. You can knock around a bit. Oof. Okay. So you got nice and tall. So now we're going to bend the left knee. And I'm going to take this left leg across the front of the right leg. So, if you have a long leg on the floor, this foot, I know it can be hard to get it to the floor. Just do the best you can. It's okay if it's not. Just put it wherever works for you, okay? And notice what happens to our spine when we're doing that. It rounds. So now we have to sit back up. We have to kind of get that length, get that tall feeling once again, sitting up nice and tall before we twist. And again, you have the option of bending the lower leg's knee and bringing that heel towards the opposite hip. So you do have this option as well. So you can either have your right leg out long or not. Sit up nice and tall, kind of lifting the chest up and forward. You can inhale your arms up. And as you exhale, you're going to twist to the left, towards the left leg. Great, great. And the left fingertips are going to go behind you. And this right hand, you can just be holding the left knee. You can place your elbow on that knee, but notice what happens. If I go to put my elbow on there, I'm going to hunch my upper back. So I want to think of lifting up to the upper back. If I can't do that and bring my elbow over, then I'm not going to sacrifice that. Each exhalation, you draw the belly in, you kind of slide those organs around the length of the spine. So whatever position you're in for the twist. And I have a lot of stuff in the front of my body. So it's okay to walk the back fingertips out so that you're hinging a little bit back from the hips, but you still want the spine to remain long. You don't want to punch at the spine. So it's really up to you. You may be different on one side of your body than the other. Okay? So just take a nice breath. You can look back over the shoulder. Keep the chin parallel to the ground. Breathe for a nice tall spine and soft front as it slides around the long spine. So all the organs and muscles kind of softening, just swirling around going to the spine. And you can unwind yourself. Great job. I know that that is a difficult pose to do. So I give you a lot of credit for those of you doing that with me. Okay, so in yoga, we do some things. I'm not going to make you go up, sit down. I'm not going to make you do anything crazy, okay? But there is a pose that I really enjoy doing because it really reminds us of how important our core is, our spine, and the front of our waist. So we're going to do a little rolling, all right? So you have your mat, and if you want to lay a full blanket out on top of the mat, you can do that, okay, to make it a little softer for you. So, I'd like to do a little stick movement. So stick pose, you're gonna lie down on your back. So bend the knees, come down one vertebrae at a time. Ooh, one vertebrae at a time. Great job. Laying down with the knees bent. Oh. So stick pose is when you lay out straight. So gently, easily, you're gonna relax one leg out, and then the other. You can move around the flesh of your back and make yourself comfortable. So you're laying out nice and long, okay? Nice and long. Stretch your legs, they can do whatever feels good to you right here. Yeah? Okay, awesome. And then what I'd like you to do is inhale your arms up overhead if you can. How does that feel? Can you get them all the way overhead? Is this challenging for you? It's okay. I don't want you to do anything that hurts or that squeezes the shoulders up near the ears, okay? So press out through the bottom of the feet. Inhale as you reach up. And exhale the hands back down. So you're just going to do this a few times, okay? Inhale up overhead. And exhale down. And inhale overhead. And exhale. Great job. Now, the abdominal muscles that you work when you're doing crunches and stuff, these are stabilizing muscles, okay? They really help stabilize the spine. It's really important. They help you stabilize the whole torso over the bottom half, especially when you're walking. These muscles work in concert with other muscles all the time. But there are two movements in which they do all the work. And one of them is when you're sitting down or lying down and you have to bring your torso up to seated. They are the prime movers. And another is rolling over in bed. If you've ever noticed that, right? If you have backache or issues with your abdominals, it can be really painful. So we're going to practice that, okay? Which is why I told you to put your blanket out. We're going to practice rolling over and using this abdominal strength to do that, okay? So you don't have to do anything special. You don't have to pull your belly button in. Just keep strong through the abdominals, kind of hug in to the right and left sides of the rib cage. Hug in, okay? If we can do this with our arms overhead, that would be great. We'll just see what we can do, okay? So you're going to inhale the arms overhead. As you exhale, I want you to roll over to the right. Oh, wow. So you can stay on your right side with your legs stacked, or if you want to get a little bit more froggy, you can go all the way to your belly. Whew. Beautiful. Here's the issue, though. You got to go all the way back. So hug the rib cage. Hug all the muscles of your torso in towards each other. Inhale here. Exhale. Roll back. Woo! Onto the back. All right, great job. Now we have to go in the other direction. And it's okay if you can't get all the way over, but you just roll to your side. That's okay too. Okay, then come back. Let's try it here. Inhale here. Nice strong core. Exhale. Roll. Oh boy, maybe you're on your side. Maybe you've gone all the way to your belly. And then, once again, hugging the front and back body. Inhale here. Exhale. Oh boy. Nice job. I won't ask you to do that. Okay, but that's a pretty difficult thing, because when do we practice that? You know, core strength is real important. If you want to do one more time to each side and increase your core strength, and it's comfortable for you, you can definitely go ahead and do that. But you don't necessarily need to if you don't want to. So let's bend both knees and use these abdominals, right? Hug them in. So now when you're getting ready, this is a challenging one. So I really want you to hug the abdominals in a little bit more strongly as we roll over onto our side. So now we want to use our abdominals to help us lift the weight of our torso up. So it's not just your small arms and the small muscles in your shoulders. It's your chest and your back. It's mostly your abdominals. So pull your belly button in before you push your torso up from the ground. Okay, so whenever you're coming up like that, always draw the belly button in. Such an important thing to do, right? Such an important thing to do. I wanted to do a little bit more back bending as we're talking about a soft front. All right? Sweep the legs around and come into all fours position once again. Getting towards the end of practice, almost done, but I wanted to do a little bit back, just a little bit. So lifting the hips up, we're going to sit them back towards the heels, again with the tops of my feet down. So this is child pose once again. A chance to kind of enjoy rounding the spine a little bit, sitting the hips back, enjoy the child's pose.
I lost you.
You got me back?
I don't know how to get back. Wait, hang on.
Take your time.
Where am I?
Are you back?
No, I don't know how to do any. All I have is learn more, Zoom, and maybe I should log off and log in again. How's that?
You could try that.
Okay.
If I have to let you in, I'll let you in.
You have to do something at your end?
I might have to. We'll see. Give it a shot. I want you to be able to see me. You lost the video, is that it?
Yeah.
Okay. Because I don't understand. I don't see anything here that looks different because I can still see you.
Yeah, but I can't see you.
Why you would have lost the video. Sometimes there's a bar at the bottom. If you put your finger over it, your cursor over it, it'll have a slash through it. And if the video has a slash through it, maybe you need to click on it so it opens up again.
Oh, you know, that's what I don't see. I don't see anything down there. That's what I wondered, why I don't see anything.
Well, scroll down there. It might open up once you
Okay.
go. You can give it a shot. Any luck?
No. I want to shrink the picture up a little, but I can't even do that. Oh, wait a minute. Took you away. Let's see. I think I'm going to have to log in again.
Go ahead, give it a shot.
What about your end? Maybe you have to? I don't know.
No, I don't.
I'm okay. I think I'm okay.
Okay, got it.
Wait, no,
I think
not yet.
It might just be buffering and connecting, so do the best that you can.
No, it's not working. Oh, wait. Launch meeting.
Well, if you can hear me, I can talk you through it. So
Okay.
even if you can't see me, if you can hear me, I'm going to talk you through it. So what we're going to do is we're going to come down to our back. So go ahead and come on back down to your back. I think we'll move there since we're getting towards the end here. And if you have a block or a blanket, you're going to need that. So I'm going to roll myself down one vertebrae at a time onto my back. My knees are bent. So your knees bent, feet on the floor, back against the floor. You're going to take your block or maybe your folded up blanket. And I'm going to ask you to push it to your feet and lift your hips so that you can take your block or your blanket and slide it underneath your sacrum. What's your sacrum? It's the flat, bony spot right above your tailbone. So put a blanket there or a block so that your hips are lifted up. Knees are bent, feet on the floor. Feet about, hips width or wider. So this is a back bend, but it's a restorative back bend. So you don't have to, squeeze the muscles of the back body. Because you put something underneath your hips and lifted them up at the sacrum, you are creating a back bend in the upper body, okay, which is an excellent thing to do. So go ahead and relax your arms. And if you want, you can even think about your shoulder blades on the floor. If you tuck them way under, right, you're going to feel it a little bit differently, and you might even feel a little bit of pressure in the lower back. But if you widen your shoulder blades underneath you apart a little bit, then you can let the whole front body soften. You'll notice that this definitely, increases the back bend. You can close your eyes and take some big, deep breaths here. Breathe into that feeling of a strong spine. Arches a bit from the block down to the vertebrae in your neck. And you're open in the front body, from the belly all the way up to the sternum. And just breathe. This is what they call a restorative back bend. This is a wonderful thing to do. You can, walk your feet out a little bit more if you like, adjust where the blanket or the block is for comfort. It just creates a bit of a back bend. Just breathing softly into the open, soft front of your body. Feeling the spine. Maybe release a little bit as it arches. Let the hips be relaxed here. You're not working through the legs or the hips, okay? Thanks. All right. So the next thing we're going to do is we're going to take the blanket or the block out from there, okay? So just make your this a little bit, slide it out, and place your butt back on the floor. So your knees are still bent, and feet are on the floor, and your back's on the floor. So if you want to straighten out the right leg on the floor, go ahead and do that. And lift the left arm up overhead. So now you have your right leg straight and your left arm up. Then when you're ready, go ahead and straighten the left leg out on the floor, nice and easy, and lift the right arm up. So you're in a long stick position once again, reaching out to the bottom of the feet, stretching up to the fingertips. Just looking at the ceiling gently. Don't have to lift your chin. Inhale here. Exhale, bring those fingertips down. Okay, so now the arms are by your sides, and we're going to bend the knees with the feet on the floor. So we're going to bend the left knee, then the right knee with the feet on the floor. And what I'd like you to do is walk your feet away from each other. So your knees are bent, your feet are on the floor, and you're going to walk them as far away from each other off the mat as they can be. So the knees are apart and the feet are apart. Reach the arms out from the body. They could be shoulder height, they could be up overhead, whatever feels comfortable. Inhale here, and as you exhale, twist the bottom of the body so both knees move over towards the left. You're going to feel a big stretch in the front of that right hip. You're going to feel the right hip come right off the floor a little bit, and that's okay. This is windshield wiper pose. This is going to open up the front of the right hip and thigh. Next, you don't have to squeeze your butt. You don't have to do anything like that. Gravity's going to help us here. Relax through the shoulder blades. Now when you're ready, inhale both knees up once again. They're still far apart. And then as you exhale, bring both knees over to the right. This is going to lift the left side of your back end off the floor a little bit. When we twist, we can't just twist at the waist like Barbie and Ken. It's not how we're made. It's not how it works. We don't have a big capacity to twist in our lower back, so our pelvis has to go along for the ride. So think of that when you do any twisting, when your knees go from one side to the other. The pelvis has to move too, okay? Feel the stretch here in the front of the left hip and thigh. Now we can go back and forth with this. Inhale, both knees up, both feet on the floor. Exhale your knees over to the left. Feeling this in the right here. And then when you're ready, inhale the knees up and exhale the lower chin. So just go back and forth. If you want to hold it because you like the way the hip stretch feels, you can do that. If you don't, that's okay too. Just go back and forth with the breath. Awesome. It's nice to do a twist after we do a back bend, right? So we have the block underneath our sacrum with the blanket, and that was a little back bend. So now we're doing some twists that feel good after back bends. Okay? And then when you've had enough of these, you're going to walk the feet in towards each other. So your knees are bent, feet on the floor. Very gently bring the right knee in towards the chest, and then the left knee. So you're just gently hugging your knees toward the chest. I have my hands behind my thighs. You can definitely keep your hands behind your thighs when you bring your knees in towards your chest. You can place your hands in the front of your shins if you like. Just don't want you to yank and pull on the knee joints. And just rock a little bit from side to side. It doesn't matter how far in towards your chest your knees are. And then maybe make some circles, like moving the knees away and then in closer again, circling, clockwise, and then make sure that you circle counterclockwise. So your feet are off the floor, you're just doing knees to the chest, a little bit of rocking, pressing the lower back against the earth. Very good. Very good. Do this for as long as it feels good to you. People like to do this If you want to add another twist here, you can definitely do that. You can, keep the knees bent, both feet on the floor, and just bring both knees to one side. Before we had our legs apart when we did this, and then bring them up, and then bring both knees to the other side. Some people really like to do twists at the end of class. You can always add something if you want, right? If you like. Or maybe you just want to keep your knees in towards your chest because it feels good. You just want to kind of experience that, okay? Now we're going to get ready for Shavasana, which is my favorite part, okay? So you're going to bring your feet to the floor, knees bent. Now you have some options here. You can stretch your legs out if that's comfortable for you. If you have blankets or pillows, and you can put them underneath your knee joints, underneath the, the back of your knees when your legs are out long, it might feel more comfortable to you. Some people like to do that. If you're more comfortable with your feet on the floor and your knees bent, just knock your knees together a little bit so you can rest constructively. Feel like you're working. So you can, knees bent, feet on the floor, knock the knees, or you can relax the legs out nice and long. And again, put something underneath your knees. Sometimes I put like a rolled up blanket or something underneath my knee joints. It can feel really good to us and for our lower back, especially when we can lift our knees up a little higher than our hips when we're laying down. So it can be nice to put a rolled up blanket. So sometimes I do that. I roll up the blanket and I just put it underneath the backs of my knees because I like that. Let the legs relax out, let the arms relax out. So let's think about our back for a minute, okay? Let's snuggle the shoulder blades together underneath us and notice how that feels. Okay, you probably notice the arch in the lower back. And then let's widen the shoulder blades apart on the floor and notice how that feels. Okay, you might feel a little bit more length. Some people will even come up on their forearms, kind of lengthen their rib cage away from the top of their pants, and then lower their bottom ribs first, and then rest. So they're nice and open and relax the feet. So just find a way to relax. I have my blanket underneath my knees, but you don't have to do that. You can just relax your legs out. Just relax. This is Shavasana. So you don't want to lift the chin up higher than the forehead. Draw the chin down a bit. Rock a little bit on the back of the skull. So find just the right spot. And then close your eyes for Shavasana. You're ready. Some people may want to do their Shavasana sitting in a chair. You can do that too. But the Shavasana is called the corpse pose, so you just lay here. Just breathe. So as you relax in Shavasana, just relaxing. You can do whatever feels comfortable for you, right? You can come back to focusing on your inhales and exhales. So it's a nice practice to think about, strong backs and soft fronts. It's also wonderful to focus on the breath and feel how that moves through the body. And it's also okay to focus on the message of the body. So maybe when you're breathing, you can focus on the lifting of the belly as you inhale. And lowering of the belly as you exhale. Just inhaling and exhaling. Focus on the feeling of the breath. So what life hands us, we can always find an anchor, always find comfort in our breath. Inhaling the breath, where do you feel it in your body? Exhaling the breath, sometimes we take a big sigh, and that's okay. You can focus on where in the body you feel the breath coming. You can focus on the length of the breaths. Inhaling and exhaling. Maybe just notice the beginning of the inhale, the beginning of the exhale. Everything softened against the support of the ground underneath. The head, jaw, back, and shoulders release. Chest and belly. The elbows and hands soften, relax. Heavy and soft in the hips. And thigh bones, the leg bones. Feet. Everything releases, softens, and relaxes. And stay in your Shavasana as long as you want. Just resting against the support. When you're ready to come up to seated. Because remember what we practiced with our rolling and stick. Bend the knees, roll over onto your side. And using the strength of the abdominals, pulling the belly button in. Use your hands, your arm strength to help push your torso away from the ground. So whenever you're ready to come back to seated, please be mindful of these abdominals as we help you. Great job. Thank you for joining me.
Thank you.
How do you feel?
You're great.
Good, I'm glad. That's the whole point. Hopefully we can.
Really need to get back in shape with this COVID. I haven't done anything. So I thought I'd start easy.
I mean, I do the floor yoga. I don't know who I'm practicing with, so sometimes we do a little bit more, sometimes we do a little bit less.
Right.
I do it 3 times a month for Gilda's. So sometimes I do chair yoga. Would you want to do any chair yoga, Carolyn?
Chair what? Yoga?
Chair, yeah, yoga in the chair.
Oh, I don't care.
Yeah, because I'm thinking if I do it 3 times in the month, then I can do on the floor and then in the chair and then on the floor again. So
Right.
maybe next week we'll try a chair practice. It can be a lot of fun chair practice. You either sit or you stand, so there's movements there. So we'll try
Right.
that. If you come next week, we'll try that.
Sounds great.
All right, thank you so much.
Thank you. Have you logged off?
No, I don't. I'm
Oh, you
waiting for Karen to come up so she can do that for me. Let me see if I can find it here. I'm gonna look. Karen's coming. She'll log it off. It doesn't do
Okay.
that by itself. So Carolyn's still on there. She's trying to log off.